It's a familiar sight in households around the world. Children being entertained and placated by technology. But this is also familiar. Monumental meltdowns when the devices are taken away. They're reactions that are in fact symptoms of one of the major medical challenges of our time. What's being called internet addiction disorder. And it has mental health experts worried about children and their parents' actions.
They give their children a device at maybe 3 or 4, and all of a sudden that's all they want. And they don't want to play with other toys. They don't want to have any interest in other activities. They just want to be in front of their screens.
Okay, so add some more time?
Yeah. Yep, so add an hour.
I'm going to put the password
Brisbane mum Bianca Pevriol knows exactly what the experts are saying. Over the years, she's used the Xbox, smartphones and tablets to give her a few moments of much-needed peace from 2 bright, active boys.
Sometimes you have an important phone call or you've got a parent-teacher interview or whatever that you just can't be interrupted in, and it's so easy. It's peace in a pocket.
But recently, Bianca started noticing a dramatic change in 9-year-old Owen and 7-year-old Adam's behaviour as they became hooked on their handheld screens and the popular game Minecraft.
They would be playing every single day and they would be late for school and they wouldn't do homework, and they would become sort of aggressive and throw tantrums and that sort of thing if they'd played for ages and ages.
What were the kids like if you tried to turn off the Xbox or take away the tablet?
Yeah, well, that's tantrum city then.
The bad moods and the tantrums are almost like withdrawal symptoms.
Correct.
Do you agree with that?
I agree, totally, yeah. It is. There is something about it that changes their brain.
And Bianca's right, there is something happening in young addicted brains. In early studies, Chinese researchers compared brain scans of average adolescent internet users to internet-addicted adolescents. In red, you can see the affected areas of the addict's brain, areas responsible for decision-making, emotions, and self-control. Screen addiction distorts the same brain function as alcohol, drugs, and gambling. And it's exactly what was happening inside Tam Neal's brain.
It's like a tunnel vision. I feel like I lose my sense of peripheral vision, my sense of light. The day could change from day to night and I don't notice. I was a mess. I didn't function like a normal human being. I didn't cope with anything.
It could be the bottle or drugs or gambling, but Tam's talking about her addiction to the internet, especially online gaming.
How bad is it?
At the worst, I was gaming for 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, non-stop.
Tam was a prisoner of the online world. Married with a young son, her daily life was completely consumed by surfing the internet and playing games like Tetris and Solitaire. So much so, she chose her computer over her family.
When you were at the worst, how did your life collapse around you?
My son was at a friend's house on a play date, and I knew that if I didn't go and collect him and go home and make dinner and just get on with the evening, that was it, it was going to be over. And I thought, I can't handle that, that's too big, I'm going. And I left, and I went internet cafe hopping that night, and I spent the night at an internet cafe. That was the real rock bottom. That was the day that I made the decision that I was going to turn my back on my life and my family and choose gaming. And even though I had hit rock bottom already, and I knew how bad things could get, I still chose gaming.
Tam acknowledges she has internet addiction disorder, and if you're sceptical about the diagnosis, then watch this.
Now, you tell me at any stage if you're not comfortable. I'm very much guided by you.
Okay.
To show how she's affected by this addiction and what she does to control it.
Reality becomes like white noise.
Right, so you zone out.
Yeah, I really zone out, and it's like I can't hear anything. And so I feel okay to go into this place today because I'm here with you. You're like my anchor. You're in the real world.
Right. A brave Tam takes us to an arcade full of computer games. Adult versions of what our children encounter on their screens and programmed like pokie machines.
Noise and sound and colour, and so it's very hard to explain to people that don't know the physiological response.
Yeah.
But I think that it's really important that people can see it because...
But in just a few minutes, she becomes a different person, completely overwhelmed by this environment.
Well, this is what's wrong. This is why that I'm... Can we move down there a little bit?
This way, come on. I can see you're even clutching at your chest and it's overwhelming, isn't it?
Yeah. I find it hard to focus and I find it hard to articulate. No, not there. Yeah, I just want to get out of here now.
Yep, let's do it. That is like, you know, a gambler being in a room full of pokie machines, or an alcoholic being in a bar.
Yeah.
And I could see you were struggling up there.
The message that I'm hearing is, what's my goal now? Where's the next gold coin? Where's the next bit that I need to pick up, or the key, or it puts me right back into a gaming mentality.
Internet addiction really is like any other addiction where you're talking about how do you diagnose it when it becomes problematic, when there's consequences.
He was spending 40, 50,
Dr.
60
Kimberly
hours
Young is a psychologist and a professor at St. Bonaventure University in New York. She's a pioneer in the field of technology and internet addiction. I think parents are trying to catch up. We all think we've done the right thing by handing over all this technology, but now we're realising there's a problem.
Yes, and that's really where the key is that we aren't giving any messages that there's a potential downside.
I love the seaside and I love the snow.
How have we got to this stage that there is an addiction to the internet?
What really happened, I think, to jettison this issue of technology/internet addiction is mobile. And in 2010, the first iPad was introduced, and now everybody has a smartphone. Everybody has some kind of tablet device. And so it really brought home this issue of internet addiction.
So it is an addiction that you can compare to alcohol addiction or gambling?
Yes, I think the diagnosis is fairly similar because addiction is addiction.
Dr. Young has many patients exactly like Tam Neal. She's also used to seeing plenty of teenagers addicted to technology. But almost unbelievably, it's now troubled toddlers and young children who are coming to her clinic.
You know, if, say, a parent says, okay, you can't be on the internet for all afternoon, a child starts throwing a tantrum, or they become even violent because they're feeling this need to be back online.
Is handing devices like smartphones and tablets to young toddlers a path to addiction?
I think it can become potentially quite dangerous. And now the age group has moved from teenagers to now really young toddlers, and saying even at 3 or 4 or 5 years old, I'm not able to control my child.
What does this place offer?
It's a chance to, as apropos as it is, unplug.
In Seattle, Washington, 25-year-old Tom is a patient at America's first residential treatment facility for internet addiction. It's called Restart. This peaceful homestead is off the grid. No phones, no devices, and definitely no internet.
At one point in my life, I handed my future, my free will, I handed myself over to a machine and let it dictate what I did.
So you were addicted to the internet, addicted to your computer?
I was addicted to gaming, browsing, porn. Yeah, I was addicted to the computer.
So, to unhook himself, Tom's checked in here for a 45-day digital detox. It might seem an extreme measure, but at its worst, Tom was spending 18 hours of every day online.
It was a way of numbing out, not having to deal with real life.
So through the internet, you were escaping real life?
Mm-hmm. Through my games, I was living out more exciting lives.
Who were you online then?
Whoever I wanted to be.
Dr. Hilary Cash is one of the founders of the Restart program.
For many of these young people, their interest in video gaming and their addiction to video gaming often started when they were quite young. And so that is, I think, the most difficult challenge for these young people who have been gaming since they were very young. It's where their self-esteem comes from and their identities are really built around it. So asking them to find new ways to build self-esteem and identity is a big challenge.
Tam Neal has had to rebuild her life. She's had plenty of therapy and has learnt to ration her computer use, 20 minutes a day for emails only. The treatment's working.
I'm sorry. It's okay. That was great. I'm so sorry.
But the best news of all is the husband and son Tam once abandoned are all back together as a family.
A simple life for me, it's so valuable to me, and I'm achieving that today, and if that feels good.
You must feel like you're living again.
Yeah, I'm starting to live. I'm starting to live like a normal person.
You're back in the real world.
Back in the real world.
Not getting to Tam's stage is the big challenge, according to Dr. Kimberly Young. And she says parents need to drastically change young children's daily digital diet, including games marketed as educational.
From birth to age 3, maybe they shouldn't have any technology, because really, do they need it? Then maybe from 3 to 6, they can have like maybe an hour of technology, but supervised, very controlled, and you're still encouraging sort of other exercise and activities. From 6 to 9, maybe 2 hours of use, but that still is very controlled and supervised. And so by the time they're kind of on their own with the technology, it's less invasive and it's less compulsive.
Back in Brisbane, Bianca Pevriol has already taken on the technology and won.
Right.
So that's where that is.
She's now in complete control of home computers and gaming devices with a parent-controlled app that restricts the sort of games young Adam and Owen can play and for how long.
So how does it work? You can't play this game unless Mum pops in the code, the security code.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Bad thing.
Now, if you didn't have the timer on there, how long would you play on the game?
I don't know, until my eyes hurt.
The app and a table of chores
That day to watch TV, 50 points.
means Owen and Adam have now detoxed from their devices.
Is there a difference in the boys' behaviour before and after you started controlling the time?
Yep, big difference.
You had to use technology to fight the technology.
I know, it's ironic, yeah. I see the irony, but it's true. It's like there's an app for everything now.
Hello, I'm Liam Bartlett. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.